Today, I'm going to share one secret from my laptop that is the secret to success in life. It helped me make millions. It helped me find my wife. So if you want to get ahead faster, if you want to make millions and you want to stop doing the things that you hate, it all comes down to this one quote. Everything in life is easier when you know more good people. And I'm going to teach you my introverted networking secrets today that has helped me become friends with billionaires and make thousands of friends, even though I'm the type of person who would rather stay at home. My name is Craig Ballantyne, and today I'm going to also teach you one powerful quote that I read in a book 15 years ago that changed my life and my approach to meeting and working with people. And so in this episode of Early Rise Radio, we're going to go onto my computer. We are going to look at spreadsheets that I have created that help me grow my network, manage my network, help my network. That's the key, adding value to the network, and then to benefit from my network, to get everything that I've wanted in life. I was able to get six-pack abs because of my network. I hung around people that had six-pack abs. They taught me their secrets. I went to seminars. I learned from experts who became my friends. They downloaded it to me. Boom, I got that aspect of my life. Then, because of my network, I was able to make millions of dollars with my friends Bedros Keuilian, Joel Marion, all of these guys who were like best friends to me, and they helped me make money. Making money with friends is one of the best parts of having a huge network. And today, I help my friends in my network make millions of dollars, like firefighter Sal DePaola, who I've had on the podcast. He was a coaching client of mine. He was doing well in certain areas of business, but it came up to a point during the pandemic where that part of the business kind of suffered. So I brought him an opportunity because of a guy that I knew, Josh Ziglowski in Utah, showed me an opportunity. I got involved with it in sales. I told it to Sal, who had a huge network, and Sal was able to turn it into millions of dollars of personal income, all because of the network effect. It's so amazing. But wait, there's more and it gets better. I was able to find the most important thing in my life, love, because of my network. I met my wife because of three people. One of the most connected people that I've ever met in the world, a guy named Joe Polish. Joe Polish runs Genius Network. Joe is one of my biggest mentors when it comes to networking. He knows everybody. He's friends with Tim Ferriss. He knows Elon Musk. He knows Peter Diamandis, Arianna Huffington, all of these super successful millionaires and billionaires. And so I was in Joe's group, learning from him, being friends with him, connecting with him, coaching him even. He hired me to coach his team one day. One day, Joe introduced me to a matchmaker named Carmelia Ray. Carmelia's from Toronto, amazing woman. And I signed up with her because I wanted to find love. She introduced me to a woman named Vanessa. Vanessa was a super connected woman in Toronto. And Vanessa and I became friends, and I said to Vanessa, I need your help. So I asked Vanessa, I said, I'm looking for love. Here's what I'm looking for. Can you make some introductions? And that's where it gets kind of funny. So Vanessa sends me a bunch of introductions, and I go, nope. Oh man. So now I'm this ungrateful guy who says no to these Instagram profile introductions that Vanessa sent me. And I thought, what can I do? So I went to Vanessa's profile and I looked at who she followed. And I scrolled through about 30 tiny little circles. And I went, this one. And I said, why didn't you introduce me to this girl named Michelle? And Vanessa says, well, she lives in Vancouver and you live in Toronto. And I thought you wanted to meet Toronto girls. No, I'm okay with meeting someone from Vancouver. So she introduces me to Michelle on the day of my second hair transplant, which I got because of my network. One of my best friends went to this doctor. He thought it was great. He introduced me to him. I've had 2 hair transplants, and I'm pretty happy that I did it, all because of my network. So anyways, I post on Instagram about how, crazy I look after my hair transplant. Michelle laughs at it because we've been introduced. The next thing you know, we start a conversation on Instagram. I fly out to Vancouver. We go on some dates. A few months later, I moved to Vancouver, and the rest is history. Now we have 2 kids and a third on the way. Been married for 3 years, all because of my network. And so what I said before about how everything gets easier when you know more good people, every area of my life has improved. And if you go look at the success of Facebook, they refer to the network effect. And this is like a marketing technical term, that the stronger the network gets, the easier it is for the network to get stronger. So when they started Facebook, right, Zuckerberg first got Harvard people on it, and then he got a whole bunch of colleges on it. And the stronger it got, the more people heard about it and wanted to join it. Compare that to other social medias that never really took off. And it's because the network never became powerful enough. You want to grow your network through adding value, through making connections, through the things that I'm going to teach you today, so that your network effect becomes so strong that people start asking to join your network. That's where I am right now. It's not just self-sustaining, but self-growing. It's like rolling a snowball down the hill. And when you roll a snowball down the hill, what does it do? It gets bigger, it gets faster, it gathers momentum, and all of a sudden becomes this giant boulder, right? So at first, as you grow your network, especially if you were introverted like me, I have introverted tendencies. I'm not an introvert. I have introverted tendencies. So if you have introverted tendencies, we don't want to label ourselves. If you have introverted tendencies, it might feel a little difficult, like pushing a rock up a hill at first. But as you grow it, the network effect kicks in and the rock becomes a snowball, and all of a sudden it's going down the hill because of the momentum that you're going to get. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you've watched this far, you have the biggest question on your mind, which is, how on earth do I add value to people and grow my network? I'm just a personal trainer like I once was. I'm just a farm boy like I once was. I'm from a small town. I'm not famous. No one's going to want to connect with me. It's all baloney. Let me ask you a question. And this is not theoretical. This is like practical question. If you knew a guy who had 12 kids with 4 different women and he was so overweight he was almost obese, do you think that you could give him tiny bit of advice that would change his life? Who couldn't? A 12-year-old could give that person advice. Well, congratulations. You just gave advice to the world's richest man, Elon Musk. I don't know if you've ever seen a shirtless picture of Elon Musk, but it ain't pretty. And he does have 12 kids with 4 or 5 women. So you could give him advice on life. You could be of value to him. And I know this because I was once a broke, struggling, introverted, socially anxious, binge-drinking personal trainer who wanted to be none of those things. And I joined groups where people were way richer than me, way more successful than me, older, more mature, wiser, experienced, more skilled, more everything, more intelligent, had better pedigrees, came from these great schools. And I was just this kid from Canada who was a personal trainer who got lucky online selling fitness programs, and I grew up on a farm. And yet, they got more value from me than I did from them because they were overweight, they were stressed, they were anxious, they were not productive, and they knew that I was. And so I was able to add value to millionaires and billionaires even when I didn't have a law degree, a medical degree. But I had my background and I had my habits and success that transferred to people. Like my friend Bedros Keuilian, who's on a speaking tour in Australia right now. He became super successful for many reasons. He's great at sales, he's great at marketing, but also because he took the productivity, discipline, and habits that I had, and he immersed himself in spending time with me and got coaching from me like I got coaching from him. And he got rid of his bad habits and he leveled up. He became a master of self-discipline. He manned up, as he talks about in his book, where he dedicates 2 pages to me and what I did for him. And because of that, he was able to succeed. And I love talking about Australia because this is where I read the book that gave me the quote that changed my life. And the book is Never Eat Alone from Keith Ferrazzi. So I went on a trip last minute. I started making money online in 2006, big money. And in 2007, some of my friends went to Australia and I booked the trip at the last minute. And I took this book for some reason. And Keith Ferrazzi, I don't even know what the guy does, but he's super connected and he wrote this networking book way back then. And so the line that stuck out to me from Keith Ferrazzi's book, Never Eat Alone, was not the title, Never Eat Alone. I eat alone all the time. As an introverted type of person, I love to eat alone and read. So I have breakfast alone before the kids and my wife get up. I eat dinner with them, but I eat breakfast alone because I love to eat alone. So you can actually ignore the title of the book and still grow your network because of the quote that's in the book. And it goes like this. If you want to connect with somebody and grow your network, you must ease their pain, help their kids. 6 words. If you go through life connecting with people and you figure out how to ease their pain, help their kids, you will become a valued and referred person in their network. Even if you're a broke, struggling, introverted, socially anxious, binge-drinking personal trainer, well, you can stop drinking and then show other people who are very successful, who love wine, how to stop drinking, as I did. I helped a guy who had a billion-dollar newsletter company slow down on his drinking and lose some weight, even though my wealth is a fraction of what his was. Ease their pain. Everybody is in pain. Everybody who has money wants more money. Everybody who has a bunch of money but is out of shape needs to get back in shape. Everybody who has a bunch of money and is in okay shape probably has no time for their family and their marriage needs your help. You can be accountability for somebody. You can be a workout partner for somebody. Just show up and add value in so many ways. And there's a bunch of ways I'll share with you in a second that even if you can't do those things, you'll still be able to add value. I've got a list of like 7 or 10 things that you can do in about a minute to add value to somebody's life. And if you show up and you ease their pain, the law of reciprocity kicks in. And the law of reciprocity is from Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, that if you help somebody If you do something for somebody, if you give somebody something, they feel indebted to you. Subconsciously, for sure, maybe even consciously, they will want to go out of their way to help you, ease their pain. Everybody's in pain. It's never been easier to ease their pain, help their kids. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. I don't want you to become a stalker and go to the kids' soccer games and give them a soccer tip and then be like, who are you? What are you doing here? Giving my child soccer tips because you went through their garbage and found their soccer schedule. Don't do that. But if they post about their kids online and you know what ages they are, you can comment and say, oh, when my kids were that age, they love XYZ, ABC. Awesome. For example, my kids are a couple years old and they're really into magnetic tiles. If you don't know what those are, they're like Lego on steroids. Really cool. And I just sent it to one of my friends who's super successful. He's a consultant to multi-million-dollar companies. I said, hey, bro, have you checked out magnetic tiles for your son? He didn't know about them. I felt really good. I added value to his life because he adds value to my life all the time. And I have so many friendships. His name is Rob Hanley. Go follow him on Instagram, @RobHanley. Awesome dude. He adds so much value to my life that I feel indebted to him, and I'm always looking for ways to add value back. That's the law of reciprocity. Same with Bedros. I'm always looking for ways to add value to his life. With my coaching clients, they've had so many breakthroughs in their lives because of the network that I've grown. For example, a guy named Dan Henderson is a business coach in Sydney, Australia. If you're in Australia, you should hire him. He's a coaching client of mine. He wanted to go and meet Bedros when Bedros was down in Australia. I told him, ease his pain, help his kids. He doesn't talk about his kids much. They're 18 and 16. You can tell him I told you that. You can give him something from Australia that he can take back to his kids. Cool. He's also going to be super jet-lagged and tired from the speaking tour. Show up with some Australian remedy like, koala droppings or whatever it is Australians use for energy. Don't show up with a didgeridoo. That's probably a bad idea because he probably just had a carry-on all the way down to Australia. So that would be a pain in the butt for him. But show up and ease his pain. Help his kids. And you can do that. He'll remember you. So let's talk about how you can add value even if you feel even if you have negative self-talk where you're like, I don't know how I can help people. Let's go through it. The other day in my Millionaire mentorship community on school.com, let me promote that for Alex Ramosi and Sam Ovens. I'm going to do some goodwill for them. We have a school.com website. It is awesome. It's the best membership site that I've ever used. It's so simple. It's so perfect for me because I love writing and it's got a great community and we put programs in there all the time. And I'm going to talk more about it in a second, but make sure you tell Alex Ramosi and Sam Ovens that I told you school.com was awesome because Alex is a very giving person. He was on my podcast years ago when he didn't have to be. Awesome dude. And then I was able to make an introduction to Mark Ford for Alex, and that gave me a lot of personal pleasure to be able to help Alex out. Mark Ford is a super successful guy, all part of the network, right? The network effect. So anyways, on school.com, on our Millionaire mentorship program, somebody said, but Craig, because all this came from a question where a guy said, how do I build a Craig Ballantyne Rolodex? And I said a lot of the stuff I've said, but then somebody said, but Craig, I don't know a lot of people. I'm from a small town. I blah, 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 right? So I said, here's how you can add value to very successful people. And it's never been easier to add value and connect with people. Like when I message Ed Milet on Instagram, Ed Milet messages me back. He goes into his direct messages. This is a guy with millions of followers. I know many people with millions of followers that still check their own direct messages. You can get through to them, especially if you're persistent in adding value to them. I'll tell you a story about a guy named Richard Yu who did an amazing job of networking to become a millionaire. Unbelievable. So remind me to do that. So this guy asked this question. I'm going to write a little note to myself not to forget. So this guy asked this question, what can I do? And I said, first of all, you can make a book author's day by going and writing an Amazon review, taking a screenshot of it and sending it to them. I've written 3 books. I beg people to give me Amazon reviews. I need them for my business, for my success. Go and do that. You don't understand how valuable that is, even if the person is a New York Times bestseller. Like maybe James Clear, he has 145,000 reviews on Atomic Habits. Maybe it wouldn't make a difference to him. Maybe it still would. I don't know. I don't know James Clear. I know he's got a great book. Hello, James. Funny story about James is the only 2 times that I've messed up podcasts in my life. One with Tim Ferriss where I forgot to hit record. I swear to God, 2009, I forgot to hit record when he was promoting 4 Hour Chef. And James Clear. I had a podcast scheduled with James Clear on the Monday after my first hair transplant. And I totally forgot because of the drugs, the Percocets that I was taking for pain, that I missed the podcast and I've never been able to get a hold of him since. So if you know James Clear, apologize to him. Hopefully he'll get a laugh out of that and maybe give me a second chance to have him on my podcast. But if you know anybody who has a book, go and give them a review on Amazon. If you know somebody that has a business with a Google page, go and give them a Google review. Give them a Yelp review. Take a screenshot of it. Say, hey, I love your book, your product, your service, your pad thai, whatever it is. I made this review. I just wanted to share it with you because you're awesome. You don't understand how such a simple thing can make a big deal to people. That's one thing you can do. You can go and comment on their social media. You can share their post. You can take their post, send it back to them with a comment. Say, I love this post. I commented on it. I shared it with all my friends. And I just want to say this was one of the best things I have seen today. And I bet you will get, if you do that to like 50 people with million-person followings, you get at least 10 responses from people with million-person followings. So let me tell you that story about Richard Yu, who networked his way to millions. Richard Yu was a student, and my friend Joel Marion, when Joel used Instagram, had a million-person following. And what Richard would do is every time Joel came out with a Born to Impact podcast, Richard would do a review on it in his social media and tag Joel. And he sent, I believe it was 51 messages to Joel about how he would love to work for Joel. And after the 51st message, Joel said, I appreciate this, bro, because I'm going to talk like Joel. I appreciate this, bro, but I don't have a position right now. But you should reach out to my friend Vince Del Monte. He's probably got a position for it, bro. So Richard did. Richard got a job with Vince. And then Joel started a mastermind group and allowed Richard to come to it. Now, this mastermind group was a group that I was a part of. It's called the $100 Million Mastermind. It was $100,000 per year to be in this group. And because of the connection that Richard made with Joel, Joel allowed Richard to come to all the events for free as long as he took notes, which is what everybody in the group was supposed to do. But Richard got free access to a $100,000 community because he took notes, because he messaged Joel. And he got the information from this to go and start his businesses. And then Richard became really good at YouTube and really good at, I forget what his business is now, but he's a millionaire because of networking. And he's like 25 years old. Millionaire because he added value to people. And he was persistent and consistent in trying to connect with people. So he was probably felt like he was rolling that rock up the hill at the start until it became a snowball of momentum going down. Here's what else you can do. You can tell your followers to go and follow somebody else. If you made a slide in your stories that said, go follow Bedros Keuilian, he would probably repost that. He'd give you a thumbs up. That's the start. Like, you don't all of a sudden become best friends with somebody. You chip away at it by doing 21 good things with somebody. And they're like, man, you go to an event, you're like, yeah, I know your name. You tell people to follow me. You've given me an Amazon review. Really appreciate it. And then when you say, hey, can I get 2 minutes of your time? They're like, yeah, of course, because you've added and built up the Goodwill bank account. So when you do these things, that's what you're doing. You're going to build the Goodwill bank account. When you help somebody, you make a deposit. You make a deposit. You make a deposit. You want to make lots of deposits, sometimes little, sometimes big. Like Joe Polish made a big deposit. Vanessa made a big deposit in the Goodwill bank account for me because of the introductions they made. Carmelia too. But leaving a book review is still a deposit. So you want to do that deposit. Another thing that you can do is you can buy from the business. Have you ever thought about that? I want to get connected with Ed Milet. Have you ever bought his books and you bought his courses? No. Doesn't that make sense to go and do that? Like, for example, Tim Grover and I, he's Michael Jordan's former personal trainer. He trained Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. He has all these best-selling books. Like $100,000 per speech speaker. He responds to my messages because I hired him years ago, back when he was $25,000 a speech. 2018, I had him to my event, bought a whole bunch of his books. I've probably bought over 500 copies of Relentless alone and sent them to people. And now we're like decent friends. He follows me on Instagram. He checks out my stories. That means a lot to me to have a peer like Tim. But I did pay to play to start. You can at least buy somebody's course. Go to their event if you think that you're going to become friends with them and add them to your network. You got to do that. And if you just want to know more people in your community, go to the gym. Get a membership where you want to meet people. You do have to pay to play in some cases. You can send them gratitude texts or thank you cards. So back in the day when I wasn't a great, awesome 100% 2.0 version of myself, I knew that I had to be more grateful. And so I started sending gratitude thank you cards. Every single day, I would write a thank you card to somebody and I would mail it to them. And a lot of people I barely knew that I would do this for. I'd send it to their business office or somehow, maybe they bought one of my books and I would send it to the book mailing address. And they'd be like, wow, this is really nice. You sent me an actual handwritten card. Nobody does that anymore. When I go to my mailbox, it's all bills and junk mail, except for your card. And that meant a lot. You can buy books for them. So in 2009, I didn't know Bedros. I wanted to know Bedros, but I didn't know him. He was doing amazing things already. I sent him a book in the mail. To Bedros, you'll love this book, Craig Ballantyne. Just from Amazon, a little note. You know what happened? He sent me a book back. Then I sent him another book. He sent me another book. And the next thing you know, I joined a coaching program with you, and then we built a coaching program that we ran for nearly 10 years. One of my best friends, all because I sent the guy a book. to get the thing started. You can do that. You can make introductions where it's beneficial and approved. So I'm going to teach you about the double opt-in introduction in a second, but just think, like, if you know somebody who's successful and wants to become more successful, and they live in Dallas. So I've done this. I'll give you a specific example. I know entrepreneurs in Dallas, and I met them only through Instagram. And I say to them, do you know Ryan Stewman? Ryan Stewman is an amazing entrepreneur in Dallas. You got to go to his events. He does this thing called the $1 Million Mastermind every year. He does the Apex Entourage Group. Dude is super connected. It's super successful. He'll be a great coach for you. You live in Dallas. He does so many live events. Go to his place, meet him, check him out. Sal de Paola, I sent Sal to his group. You can do that. So that's level 1. And if you do that, and maybe you make an introduction, like, I don't know Ryan, but I know this guy John in Dallas. John in Dallas, you should check out Ryan Stewman. I'm going to make an introduction on Instagram. Hey, John, meet Ryan. Ryan, meet John. Ryan, you don't know me, but John's an entrepreneur in Dallas, and I know he should attend your event. John, I follow Ryan on Instagram. You really need to get to his event. He's probably going to be the best coach you'll ever have in your life. Ryan, again, I don't know you. I hope this gets through to you and gets out of your, message requests or whatever it is. I just think you're awesome and, hope to see you at one of your events one day soon. You rock. I've referred clients to Ryan, and Ryan says he rarely gets referrals outside of his group. You know what? If you refer somebody to someone, it means so much because so many businesses work so hard to get customers. And if they get a free customer from your referral, man, you're going to be really good friends with those people very, very soon. Now back to the double opt-in introduction. In some cases, you might know somebody who could help another person, and this person could help that person. And you're tempted to make that introduction. But here's the problem is I get a lot of introductions. Like this guy Brian introduced me to this guy Joe and said, Joe, meet Craig. Craig, meet Joe. You guys are both awesome. You need to meet each other. Dude, that's a horrible introduction. Introvert by nature does not want to get on a get to know you call with somebody who all I know about them is that they're a good dude. I got 2, soon to be 3 kids. I want to spend time with my wife. I want to hang out with my kids. I want to work out. I want to write my books. I don't want to interrupt my day for a Zoom get to know you. That's a bad introduction. And honestly, it's an intrusion into me. So what you need to do is get a double opt-in. So if you run an email newsletter, you know that a double opt-in is when somebody says, I want your free report, and then they get an email that says, do you really want this free report? And they click yes. That's a double opt-in. When you're making an introduction, you do a double opt-in because otherwise you can shoot yourself in the foot. If I get a bad introduction from somebody, or if I give a bad introduction, I actually take my Goodwill bank account, throw it all out the window. If I say, Ryan, you need me, Bedros, he's a good dude. And Ryan's like, what? Valentine introductions are horrible. But instead, if I say, Ryan, I want you to meet Bedros Keuilian. Bedros Keuilian is an amazing speaker. He'd be awesome for your $1 Million Mastermind. I also think that you could go out and teach his sales team a whole bunch of stuff, and he should hire you. Is it okay if I introduce you and Bedros? And Ryan says, yeah, sure. And then I go to Bedros. Bedros, Ryan Stewman, awesome dude. They know each other already. We've had dinner all together in Dallas before, but just for the sake of this example, Bedros, you got to meet Ryan Stewman out in Dallas. Awesome dude. He runs this massive group. I bet you he'd get you as a speaker at one of his events. And you know what? He's also the hardcore closer. He's really great at sales. You should bring him out and maybe talk to this Fit Body Bootcamp sales team. I bet you he'd fire them up and you guys would have a record month in sales. Do I have your permission to make the introduction? And Bedros would be like, yeah, bro. No, he'd be like, yeah, bro. And so I'd make the introduction. That's a double opt-in. And that way you add more goodwill because they're like, man, this guy Valentine, when he makes introductions, he thinks about it. He's not just like throwing introductions out left and right and wasting my time. He's brought value to it. And then when I make the actual introduction, I pump them up. I say, Ryan, meet Bedros. Bedros is an awesome dude. He does this, that, and the other thing. He knows this guy. You guys have mutual friends. He's got this skill. He would deliver massive value at your $1 Million Mastermind, this, that, and the other thing. And by the way, I think he should hire you for sales. And then I would say, Bedros, meet Ryan. Ryan's an amazing dude. He's going to have this event. He's already got the lineup for this year, but probably next year he's going to use a speaker like you. You would absolutely crush it. You'd probably sell it out just on your own. And Ryan also would really help Fit Body Bootcamp. So even though I've already said this to them in individual messages, I'm going to make the value introduction so that when they get on the phone, they can quickly get to the details. If I get the, hey, Craig, you should meet Joe. Joe, you should meet Craig. You're both good dudes. I bet you there's some value here. All right, I get on the phone with this guy like, so what do you do? And he's like, well, I do this, this, and this. What do you do? And I go, well, I do this, this, and this. I go, why did Bobby think this would be a good introduction? I don't know. Awkward silence. I've had those calls before. And you don't want to have them because now everybody's all ticked off and it's a bad situation. Double opt-in introduction, massive value add. So again, back to your broke, struggling, introverted, socially anxious, binge drinking personal trainer who doesn't want to be those things, who wants to grow a network. And you're like, I don't know how. And then you go and you do something good for somebody, and now your network is starting to grow. The next step is to like, man, I know this guy needs to know this person. I'm going to get an approval. Then I'm going to go to this person, get approval, make the connection. They do business together, and they're like, whoa, you can connect and make me money? This is amazing. I know a couple other people who need to know you. And that's the network effect, and that's where it starts to explode. So a summary of all the little things that you can do to build up. You can comment and share their social media. You can tell your followers to follow them. You can do book reviews, Amazon reviews, Google reviews, Yelp reviews. You can make introductions where it's beneficial, and you get the double opt-in. You can buy from their businesses. You can refer others to them. You can send your books to them. So that's what I do a lot. I probably send out 1,000 books per year to people that I meet on Instagram that I've never met in person, but who become friends and sometimes give me $25,000 for a day of coaching. Every year, if I send 1,000, it probably costs me about $5,000 to go out, and I get about $25,000 back in. And you can send them gratitude texts and thank you cards. So those are just some of the things you can do. You can also be the workout buddy, accountability partner. You could just share with them, like whenever you see them in pain and them saying, man, I got a lousy sleep last night, you could say, hey, here are the 2 or 3 things. You just slide into their DMs. Here are the 2 or 3 things that I did that really helped me with my sleep. Hope that helps you. Peace. And that's how you start friendship and grow the network. So let's dive deeper into how I manage the network. We talked a lot about building it. Here's how I manage it. I use a Google spreadsheet. I've been told you can use Pipedrive. You can probably use Salesforce. You might be able to use something called Coda. I don't use any of the technology stuff. I just use a Google document. I used to use an Excel spreadsheet, but now I've upgraded my tech to a Google document. And in this document, I have columns: name, last name, date, contact, city, industry, then leadership, copy, and vision. Leadership, copy, and vision are all 3 trainings that I have that I've charged other people hundreds of dollars for, that I give out to people to grow my network. And I'll tell you exactly how I do this and why I do this and the end benefit for me in a second. So after those trainings, then I put my next event. Have I invited them? Have they declined? Have they accepted? Have I asked them to pay? Am I inviting them as a guest? That sort of thing. And then there's 3 other people: Sal De Paola, Brennan Durad, and Leif Massarois from Assistantly.com. He doesn't have a duh in his name, unlike Brennan Durad and Sal De Paola. Those are 3 guys who are in the financial services and assistant world who can help almost every single one of my entrepreneur clients. And I keep that column to see if I've made the introduction. I don't rush the introduction. I get double opt-in on the introduction, and I make the introduction if an entrepreneur could benefit from Sal, Brennan, or Leif. And then I have a column for book podcasts, like when my next book comes out, do they have a podcast I can be on? Yes or no? And that's it. So that's how I manage all my folks. And my goal is to connect with every single person on my list, which is about 1,700 people right now, every 90 days. Now, how do I do that? Well, I have just figured out, like, how can I add value to them? That's the question I wake up with every single day. How can I go and add value to a lot of people today? That's the old Zig Ziglar quote. You can have everything you want in life if you just help enough people get what they want in life. You can have everything that you want in life: health, wealth, marriage, beautiful wife, amazing kids, if you help enough people get what they want. And then they will help you get what you want, and you'll help them get what they want. And the virtuous cycle goes. So one of the most important things on here is having value adds. So mine is the leadership training, the copywriting training, and my vision training. And I send this out to as many people as possible. Sometimes what I do is I go on social media and say, hey, just create a brand new training. Like, for example, with the copywriting, just create a new high income skill copywriting training. I want to give it to you for free. Just DM a bag of money emoji to me, and I'll send it to you right now. I got so many inbound messages, so I sent it out. And if I sent it out, I went to their name and I put done. Sometimes I cold message it to people that follow me on Instagram, that follow my content, that like my content, that comment on my content, that read my stories. I'll go through and I'll send it out every single day. And they go, wow, this is amazing. And I send out this message that says, hey, just created this brand new training. Like when I copy and paste this. And so if somebody inbounds or I'm doing a coldish outbound to a friend, the message is copy and pasted. Just did this super high value training for my customers and clients. Wanted to give it to you for free. Here's the download link to the replay. And this is where you got to sell them on watching it. If you do nothing else, go to 7 minutes and 15 seconds into the training and learn about my penny formula that will make you a bunch of money. So you got to have that curiosity. It's like email marketing in an introduction. And then I say, by the way, my next mastermind is September 11th to 13th in Miami. Let me know if you want more details. So value add, pump it up. Value add, sell them on consuming it. Like just go to this one part if because it's an hour-long training. Just go to this one part. It's super valuable. So now they're like, I'll at least go watch that. They'll consume it and get value out of it. So Goodwill bank account, right? I've offered them something. They're like, wow, that's cool. I've given them something. Wow, that's cool. I've showed them where the most value is. Wow, that's super cool. They've gotten amazing results from it. Holy cow, the Goodwill bank account is full. Now I go, by the way, I'm having an event. Let me know if you want more details. And they go, yeah, sure, send me more details. And from that, we get people to sign up for our events where we bring together 65 entrepreneurs. They network, they build businesses together, they make money with each other, they support one another, they become almost as close as best friends with so many. We had one client in the tech world and another client in the tech world just do a massive joint venture. Millions of dollars are going to be made from our network introduction. Game changer. We take people off of lonely entrepreneur island where so many entrepreneurs spend their lives, right? Hanging around their brother-in-law who has a corporate job and golfs, and it's just like, why would you be an entrepreneur? Why would you be a boss? You probably suck. And their wives and their moms and their husbands and their dads saying, man, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you should just go get a real job. And that's Lonely Entrepreneur Island, where everybody's pulling you down. Our events, our mastermind events, bring together like-minded people who have the same big goals and dreams, who are super positive and support one another. And you're like, man, this is paradise, entrepreneur paradise. And then after the event, they stay together online because all of them go back in the real world to Lonely Entrepreneur Island where they don't have the network. I'm teaching them how to grow the network, but I've given them the network to stay plugged into, and that's super valuable. And then what do? The network effect kicks in. They invite their friends to our next event, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And by association, my network gets bigger and more powerful and more valuable, right? Joe Polish started out as a crack addicted. So, I mean, I was a binge drinker. Joe Polish was a crack addicted carpet cleaner, and he learned how to become really good at sales and marketing. I'm not making fun of him because he talks about this all the time. That's his origin story. He had this long ponytail, although he was bald up on top. He didn't get a hair transplant like I did. And he was a carpet cleaner. And he was addicted to drugs when he was younger. And then he shed the drugs, learned how to do marketing, started having seminars, started inviting marketers. Then he grew a mastermind of marketers. Then from the marketers, he got in with these tech billionaires. And now he knows almost everybody. Drug addicted carpet cleaner, broke, binge drinking personal trainer, massive networks. We came from nothing. So no matter where you're starting, you can grow your network. It may not include billionaires, but it can get better. You can add more value. I've showed you how. I showed you 10 different ways to add value. And the more value you can add, the easier everything becomes to grow the network, but also in your own life. So even if you don't have like really great skills at anything, and I know some people that don't, but are rich because they have been a networker. And that itself is a skill, which I've taught you how to do. Manage your people however you want, but try and stay in contact with them every 90 days. Always be going and giving value and adding to your Goodwill bank account so that one day after you've deposited into your Goodwill bank account and it is overflowing with people, that you go and make a withdrawal. But don't be too hasty. When I was younger, I made some early withdrawals that ruined my relationship with some people forever. Nobody's perfect, but be patient, because if you're patient and build way more goodwill and then earn the right to make a small withdrawal, that's how the game is played. And it's not even a game. Well, it is a game. I tell Michelle, my wife, that my hobby is collecting interesting people. And this spreadsheet is a game to me. I don't play golf. I played golf when I was a kid. It's too boring. But getting to know people and helping people out and getting a positive dopamine hit every single time I help some person, man, that's what life's all about to me. So now over to you. You can choose how to manage it however you want. The Pipe Drive, the Coda, the Salesforce, or just a Google document. It doesn't really matter how you manage it. It's about how you add value, about making sure that you know who you want to connect with, what you can do for them. Won't take much work. And then if you do make introductions, make sure you use the double opt-in, and you just, every single day you're out there adding value and building your Goodwill bank account. The two mistakes that you can make are going to that bank account and withdrawing too early, or making a non-double opt-in introduction between two high-level people. Don't make those mistakes. But as long as you go out there giving every single day, waking up and going, how can I add a lot of value to people's lives? How can I be that Zig Ziglar quote, which is, if you want to get everything in life, you just have to go and help as many people as possible get what they want in life. Just understanding that that's how it works. Understanding that you just need to ease their pain and help their kids, because when you have more good people in your network, everything in life gets easier. Just remember that. That's been my mantra, and that has allowed me to go from the broke, struggling, introverted, socially anxious, binge drinking personal trainer to knowing a lot of people and adding a lot of value. So there, my friend, that's how you're going to be able to achieve your dream life through connection, by making the world a better place, helping so many people that everyone wants to help you back. So that was a fun episode of Early to Rise Radio. I want to hear from you if you still have concerns or questions, but I also want to hear your success stories about who you've gone out and given a book review to, today, or who have you given a 5-star review to on Yelp or Google, so that you start growing your network. All right. And I want you to be in my network too. So I want to see you at one of my events. And if you're interested in that, just drop the word mastermind down below and we'll connect with you and we'll put you in the network. See you soon.